Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Experts. My name is Hassani,
And I'm Lakeisha Hines.
And I'm Jeff.
and we are here to answer your questions tonight. That's what we do every single evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, we are starting at 9:30 for those late night, those night owls, right? So if you're staying with us, if you're here, it means that you're committed to this show. And we want to dive right into your questions. So if you're just here to hang out, and if you're here to just be an eavesdropper, but you don't have anything to ask, I don't know how empowering this is going to be for you. But if you have a question, I don't care what your situation is. If you're single, if you're dating, if you're in a committed courtship or married, maybe you're going through a separation or divorce, maybe you've been impacted by an affair, whatever it may be, post your question in here so that we can give you an answer that will empower you to move forward. Just a couple quick announcements. Last Chance Weekend, February the 11th through the 13th, we're almost sold out, but we have a couple more spots. If that is for you, it's got your name on it, so come and get it. All you need to do is reach out to us at our website, couplesacademy.org, or set up a discovery call at 678-200-8996. I'm saying it fast because that's how people on radio do it. They talk really fast. I'm trying to sound like legitimate and professional like the radio people. 678-200-8996. Yeah, there it is. And then also Foundry's coming up. February 22nd, 23rd, somewhere around there, 12-week program. So make sure you sign up for that. There are going to be some testimonials from the men who have been a part of that program thus far that you really want to hear because it's been transformational for them. The Unearthed program, Danielle, will be starting at April 6th. So make sure you get in while you can. And last but not least, the Overcoming Emotional Triggers Masterclass. All of us will be participating in that. It will be February the 19th, okay, from 3 to 7 p.m. It is a 4-hour masterclass. Now, if you know the cost of a typical session with a counselor, it would be equivalent to what you're getting in these 4 hours. You're going to have Danielle, myself, Lakeisha, as well as Jeff, and maybe a few others, really giving you impactful information that will help you get through your situation. We've been talking about the pain of the betrayed spouse all week long. And so for those of you who are triggered, this is the answer. This is the session. This is the masterclass that you have been waiting for. So we're excited about that. All right, we're going to dive right in. We have some questions. We're going to go to Zach. Zach says, oh, okay. Are your masterclasses available in DVD format? If not, could you please make them available on your website? DVD.
What's a DVD?
Oh, 2000.
Shade.
No.
Messy.
It won't be available on DVD, but we will have the video file available for you on the website. So yes, you can download that from the website. It will be available at some point. I can't say necessarily when, but we most likely will have that up there.
Zach, there is nothing wrong with a DVD. Okay, I'm here for you.
Spoken from one who still plays 8-tracks, right? You still got that special digital, it's not even digital. You got that special device where you play 8-track tapes.
Hey, man, don't get on her. She upgraded to DVD. She used to have the beta tapes.
Right,
wow. Right. Wow. See what happens? No, we're on that new thing, that digital download. All right, here we have another question. This is from Nina. Have you experienced couples that say, my wife has treated me like I'm her child? Then you ask him how, and he cannot tell you. What's behind the question, Nina? Is this your situation? Is your husband saying that you treat him like a child, and when you ask for details, he can't come up with anything? Yeah, that happens all the time. And I think that a lot of times people aren't so quick and sharp to come up with 18 or 3 or, different examples, but it's an overall feeling that they have in the relationship. But they're not quick to say on June 24th at 4:00 when such and such happened, this is when you did. Sometimes people don't address matters in the moment. They let it ride, but they're building something on the inside of them that's creating frustration, and then they come out with it. So give your husband permission to call it out in the midst of it so that both of you in real time can address the issue. What do you two think about that?
I agree. And I also think that maybe you want to observe him and his interactions with his own mother, and that may give you some clues.
I'm saying, Nina, I would say try to be more mindful of your interactions with your husband. That could mean so many different things, but I'll just give you a couple things maybe to think about when you're communicating with him. Think about your tone, think about your body language, think about the actual words that you're saying to him. Sometimes your expectations, and when I say you, I'm not talking about you directly, but sometimes our expectations are those of maybe our kids and not necessarily our husbands. Sometimes we take things out on our husbands that really it has nothing to do with them, and they don't need to own that. And I'll give you an example. If it is, let's say you have a teenage child in your home and it's their responsibility to take out the trash and they don't do it, and then you go snap at your husband because the trash wasn't taken out, like it's not his fault, it's the kid's fault. So you need to go and address it with the kids. So it could be that, it could be again your tone, how you're talking to him. And again, it could be certain things that you're expecting from him that makes him feel like you're treating him like a child. But it's definitely a conversation.
Yeah, certainly. Great answers, guys. Let's go to another. Kay says, "Good evening, everyone. Lakeisha is awesome."
Hey, Kay, thank you.
Yeah. There was another one in here for you, Lakeisha.
It was Lindsay's, my girl Lindsay.
Yeah, no, but there was another. We'll get to it when we get an opportunity.
It was my girl Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Here's a great question. I want us to take our time and kind of unpack this and still be respectful of the fact that there are other questions. But tonight I'm going to talk to my husband about my trust issues and what I need from him to help me through. Can you give me some tips on what not to do or say so I don't mess this up? So in my opinion, whether you're talking about trust issues and what you need from him, or you're talking about anything, in essence, what you're asking, how do I have an effective breakthrough conversation with my spouse about a sensitive situation? A couple things I'm gonna share, and then I want you two to weigh in on this. Number one, you have to make sure that you're creating a safe environment for that conversation. So you oftentimes want to preface the conversation. Hey, babe, just so you know, if you're free a little bit later, maybe at such and such time, we can have a conversation. I want to talk to you about some things that are on my heart and mind. I think letting him know that you want to have a conversation rather than jumping into a conversation will prepare his mind and his heart to receive whatever it is that you have to say. When people feel like, man, where did this come from? And they feel caught off guard, they have defenses up and it doesn't go as well. Also, I would use I statements rather than you statements. Yes. You statements sound very accusatory and defenses automatically go up. I statements, they're your feelings, your interpretations, your perspective is what you own. So be very clear on that. Another thing is, absolutely stay away from absolutes. When you say things like always and never, all you're doing is preparing for him to once again defend himself. There are no such thing as absolutes in my experience when dealing with relationships. Because if you say always or never, he'll come up the one time that he didn't or did do what you said he didn't do. So be mindful of that. And then never share your feelings when you're in your feelings. That's a big one, because if you come with hostility, if you come with anger, if you come with sadness and all emotional, he may not be able to deal with that. Some people speak the language of feeling and emotion. Others speak the language of logic and reason. And those languages don't always go together. And it's important that you learn to become bilingual for you to have an effective conversation. Guys, what do you say?
Instead of always and never, say there are times when. And the other thing I would add to that is, like, when you're creating a space, like, schedule it, structure it. I would write the things that you want to say down so you're not freestyling off the top of your head. That's where we can often attach our thoughts to our emotions. So I would structure a few things you want to go over with him. I would create a safe place for him to speak and let him know that this is an amnesty zone, that we don't want to really get into the emotions of, I don't want to get caught up in the emotions of things, and that anything said here in this moment is going to stay right here. Like, it's what create that safe zone that, like, look, let's have a real conversation. Otherwise, you're going to get into this defensive posturing, and nobody's going to get anything done.
I feel like you guys took all the good answers, but I'll just add on to know the details. Like, you have to first identify what your trust issues are. Like, if you can identify that and make it as clear, concise, and direct as
Yeah.
possible, that will make for a productive conversation. And also, I've said this like multiple times, but I don't know if you heard it, Shalise, but I said, actually, I'm quoting TD Jakes, and that he says women tend to talk in circles and men speak in straight lines. So make sure that you land the plane as soon as possible. And what that means is, again, be clear, concise, and direct. I love what you said, Jeff, about writing down what it is that you want to say and what you want to communicate. And then that way, hopefully, there's not a lot of circular conversation, but that you're being straight with him, straight talk, because he'll receive that so much better.
One last thing, I would also add to that, before you get into a conversation like that, define the outcome, the mutually beneficial outcome that you desire on paper for yourself. You have to decide what you actually really want to see, and you need to do it from your perspective. You need to take a moment to think about it from his perspective, and then you need to put those things together and figure out a mutually beneficial outcome. That way he doesn't see you as coming at him, but coming with him.
Excellent point. A couple quick questions. We have one from Patrice. What's the largest capacity, I guess, for the Foundry program that it can hold? We max out at 20. Once we hit 20, we have to form a new group. So if you have someone in mind, whether it's a husband, a boyfriend, I don't know your situation, a son, a friend, let them know to get in while they can get in. Also, this is what I saw from JJ Rick. I want to thank you, Keisha, for all the advice that you gave me the other day. It really helped me a lot. So we appreciate LaKeisha for all that she does. Listen, guys, you're watching the Couples of Cat. You're watching Ask the Experts, and we'll be back right after this quick announcement. All right, guys, we're back. You're watching Ask the Experts. We have a bunch of questions. We're going to dive right in from Cali Power Couple. The question is, what are some suggestions for building emotional intimacy post-infidelity versus focusing on sexual intimacy? Great point, because there's spiritual intimacy, there's emotional intimacy, and there's intellectual intimacy. Then sexual intimacy. So guys, what tips do you have for them in terms of how they can begin to develop the intimacy in their relationship?
First and foremost, I absolutely love this question, because I think we all can identify with the fact that there's so many couples that we work with that they jump back into sex too soon. So I so love this, that you're focused on trying to get the emotional connection back. So what connected you emotionally in the first place? Was it deep conversation? Was it, you guys dreaming together, sharing goals? What connected you emotionally in the first place? I would say get back to that, because we just get caught up in everyday life, and we get caught up in all of the business that we have to handle, and we forget about taking care of each other's emotional needs. And it looks different for different people. So I would say, for you guys, whatever got you connected emotionally in the first place, tap back into that.
And let me just say, I know who you are. What you have is the emotional needs questionnaire. Remember that? So those top emotional needs, those top 10 emotional needs, delve into those and find out what it is that your spouse is in need of, longing for. And that's where you want to put your energy, your time, your effort, your focus, so that her love tank will be filled up. And so once you have her heart, once you have her mind, then everything else, it's easier. Now, in essence, what you're saying is, how do I stop focusing on penetrating her? In essence, that's what you're saying. Well, focus on penetrating her heart, because if you can penetrate her heart, then her body comes along with that. That's the key. Jeff, anything?
Wouldn't hurt to study romance, like what it actually means to be romantic. It doesn't have anything to do with sex. It really has more to do with all the build up to that. So it becomes natural. That's the next step. And taking them to dinner anymore, that's just not romantic anymore. So you got to do things that are different, that are fun. Couples massages. Neither of you are touching each other, but it's a very romantic experience. Mani pedis. Go for a mani pedi with your girl. Trust me, you'll actually enjoy it. I didn't think I would, but it's actually kind of a cool experience. Do things that she's into that show that you're trying to get her attention in a different kind of way. And I'm telling you, the responses usually are very, very positive.
Absolutely. Great point. Great point. And if anybody heard or read through those lines, Jeff's birthday's coming up. He wants a certificate to get mani pedis. So just keep that in mind. All right, next question. Francisco says, how do you start the conversation with my teen daughter who holds animosity towards me after my affair? That's a great point, because we always say when you are unfaithful to your spouse, you're also unfaithful to the family because they're affected by that as well. So what advice would you guys have for him?
Yeah, for
Turn your
me,
torch.
because
Go
I
ahead.
know I mean, we all know Francisco, and so we have background information. And hey, Francisco, I don't know what you've done already. I know what we've talked about previously, but I don't know what progress has been made or what you've done. So I'm gonna pretend like you haven't done anything. And if you have, I mean, no disrespect or no offense by that, but definitely start off by asking her what she needs. Does she have questions that maybe you've been avoiding answering? Did she see certain things that she probably should not have seen and she has questions about that, or she's feeling a certain type of way about that? The main thing is to be honest. You do not have to give details, right? The gritty details, specifics about what you physically did with another person, but you definitely need to be open and honest with her and let her know, yes, there was an infidelity. Let her know how you feel. You regret it. You know, you're working toward trying to repair not only your marriage, but you're also working toward repairing your family and your relationship with her as well. So I think really going to her, because she's a teenager, she has some awareness. I think you also should ask her, you know, what is it that she needs from you at this particular point in time? Because remember, as her father, you are there to model how her husband is supposed to treat her. So you want to make sure that you're having a conversation with her to get in her mind to understand what she's thinking and how she's processing all of that, because you may need to shift that thinking. You may need to reframe it for her and let her know you made a mistake, but that's not who you are. You are not your behavior. It's what you did. It's not who you are. And you're working toward being a better husband and father and man every single day.
And all of that needs to be communicated. But I also want to give you a way that you can turn this into action oriented things, because you're going to need to overwhelm her senses with how good you are now. And so you can turn your torture into a testimony, right? And so the whole idea here is that she sees you going beyond to
Mhm.
demonstrate what a good husband is on a daily basis. The best way for her to recover from it is to see your daily, it's not just a conversation, it's to see your daily actions towards becoming a better person. Turn that torture that she's experiencing into a testimony. And you'll see the time and distance, because you're being consistent,
Yeah.
will change the narrative.
Can I
Great.
add too that, you know, our dads, as a daughter, our dads are superheroes
That's it.
oftentimes. And so we look up to our dads, and like I know for the longest time I just felt like my dad was perfect and he didn't do anything wrong. And so when we have that discovery that wow, he's human, he does make mistakes, it can be earth shattering for a daughter who looks at her dad as, you know, the great hope, and that he's perfect, and like I said, that he's a superhero. So I'm sure some of that's in there. There's a level of disappointment that she has because she never thought you would do anything wrong or could do anything to hurt her or your wife, her mom. But you know, again, it's two totally different relationships. Your relationship with your wife is very different from your relationship with your daughter. So just letting her know that, listen, I'm still here. I'm here to support you. I love you. And I'm working hard every single day to try to make this right.
Excellent, excellent. So we got a couple more. Is it recommended for the triggered individual to join the masterclass solo if the offender isn't present, or is it the offender to understand the triggering of the offended partner? Whatever your situation is, you need to join it. So whether you are married and you have a willing participant, a spouse who's willing to join, join. If you're separated and you're not with that person, or divorced or break up, but you still have residue from that relationship and you're triggered, you need to join, because we're going to talk about how you as the triggered person needs to overcome that trigger. And if your spouse is present, we're also going to talk to that spouse about what they must do, he or she must do, to help you with those triggers. And the truth of the matter is, no matter what side of the offense either of you may be on, both of you are triggered in different ways. Now, not enough attention is given to the unfaithful person's triggers, but trust and believe they have triggers. So it's going to be very comprehensive. We're going to deal with all of that when we have that particular masterclass. So make sure you sign up. The link is in the description to find out more information about it. Listen, guys, we'll be right back after this quick announcement. You're watching what? You're watching the Ask the Expert show. Be right back. That's right, guys. We're back. This is Ask the Experts. That was the last chance weekend. You have an opportunity. We just have a few days left to register. And I'm excited. There's some people who have worked with us years ago, and even as of recent, who have said, you know what, we've worked with you, but we want to come back and do a deeper dive. So there are going to be some repeat clients. And so if that's you, reach out to us. Let us know. We would love to accommodate you during this weekend. Kathy, I'm going to go to Kathy. Kathy, I got your text. I was actually going to it next, and I see you posted it here as well. Good evening, everyone. How does the betrayed get away from feeling stupid for wanting to be with the betrayer? What a great question. Jump in there, Lakeisha, because I see you chomping at the bit.
Oh my God, that one is so hard. And what's up, Kathy? I know you. I'm glad you're joining us tonight, sis. I mean, the reality is you love your husband. That's what it is. It's not about stupidity. It's not about you being naive in any way, shape, or form. It's about the fact that you love your husband, and there's hope. There's still hope there. You have faith in the marriage and in the relationship. I have communicated. You got to have faith in a higher power, which I know that you believe in. So sometimes you got to move away from that faith in your husband, and it's got to be the faith in God that he's going to do what needs to be done when you guys both do what you need to do. But the reality is, everyone who has been betrayed that I have talked to have experienced that exact same thing, that they do have those feelings of, man, I must be crazy for sticking this out. But the way I look at it is, you must be crazy for walking away from something that you've invested so much time and energy and effort into, and especially when your husband is showing up the right way.
There it is. All right. Thank you. Excellent answer. I'm going to go to this question. As the unfaithful male, not having been raised to be emotional in some ways, should the faithful understand that it's not easy to change in some ways? Also, being an ex-Navy SEAL can affect my softness. Jeff, why don't you jump in as a former military guy?
All right, brother. we're of the same mind. You're gonna need to learn how to communicate in a different way, because everybody knows I'm still a tough guy, but there's something about my spouse. Listen, I'm gonna put it to you this way. It's the way you're
He
really
does
gonna.
mani pedis. All right, he's the tough
Mani
guy.
pedis.
He does
You're
mani
definitely
pedis.
gonna take the mani pedis. No, seriously, you might want to do that. There's something you gotta learn that I had to learn, because I used to come home and bring everything with me, right? But you can take a bed that's meant for sleeping and you can tie it up with duct tape, hang it from the ceiling, and punch on it all darn day. But that's not the purpose of a bed, okay? When you come home, when you go out in the world, there's still a war being fought, whether it's business, whether it's paying the bills, whether it's doing this or doing that. When you come home, leave your weapons at the door and let your spouse be your comfort. And that means soften up just a little bit. Put your guard down. I know that guard's up really high, especially, when you're playing in the world. The divorce rate in Navy SEALs is probably the highest in the world. Because I know what you guys do. I have a couple of friends that play in that world still. You spend some time away and you can't talk about where you're going or what you're doing. And now that you're back out of that world, you need to lighten up just a little bit. When you walk out of your house, that's one thing. But with your wife, you need to soften up. And so that's going to take you doing a deep dive and studying things about emotions and how to express your emotions and how to communicate in that way. So it's no longer shoot, move, communicate, kill. It's going to be something a little different in the communication realm, okay?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I felt that you were qualified to answer that. Here's another question. Okay, my D-Day was in May last year and never had full disclosure, just bits and pieces. Thought things were getting better, but now I see messages on the phone bill, but I must be going crazy.
You are not going crazy. And when you don't have full disclosure, you don't get closure. So when that happens, you're still open emotionally. You still have all these questions. You still have all of these uncertainties and insecurities. And then you get new information. So now it's like D-Day all over again. It like resets the clock when you find new information. And again, have you guys gone through that affair proofing process? Probably not. There probably hasn't been an agreement or discussion or understanding about how we're going to proceed post infidelity. So give us a call.
There it is. Give us a call. I think you're right, because, many people stay trapped in this discovery phase where, as you say, pieces of information, the trickle truth comes out little by little by little, and it's so painful. Mm-hmm. And so you think you know everything, and then a year later, boom, you're hit with something else. And it doesn't take you to ground zero necessarily, but it certainly takes you back. It's a quantum leap back. And so now it's an issue of trust. And, we have found that, and I've said this thousands of times, infidelity typically doesn't lead to divorce, but the way people show up or refuse to show up after the betrayal was discovered, they get to a point where they're just like, what am I sticking around for? Nothing has changed. You continue to do the same dastardly deeds that you did before. I can't take it anymore. And so there's got to be genuine change and transformation in both partners if this thing is going to work. And that is what being an explorer is, not being trapped in that sufferer marital pattern that so many people are stuck in. And that's why they come to these last chance weekends, to find hope for the hopeless, healing for those who couldn't find healing before, restoration when you thought it wasn't possible. That's why we do what we do. And so, guys, man, we've reached our time. This goes by so incredibly fast, but I hope that you got something out of today. This is Ask the Experts. It's Thursday, which means that we will see you on Monday. But until then, have a great weekend. Love on your spouse. Give your spouse the benefit of the doubt. Turn that relationship inside out and sign up for the Last Chance Weekend. Listen, we love you, and we will see you on Monday. Take care. Deuces.